confirming it was white for the facial, but beige floor for the fabric, and you said correct. Yeah, so if I can get it.
I'm gonna look at it right now. Yes, you know what? She did, and I didn't see the whole thing. I didn't read the entire thing.
Make sure everything.
Sinking ship.
Hey, I got no heat in my office right now. You don't want it.
Jim's in the building. Should I go find him?
So all we're waiting for is him. That's what we're waiting for. There he is.
SRO crowd.
Yeah, they're not in here. They're saying they're not in here. Nancy.
21st.
I'm looking at all of them. They're all saying not available.
I wonder why, though. They've all been approved according to the minutes.
Let's just let me just run it through them
do
all.
it again.
Somehow.
Are you gonna?
Yeah, I'm just
bring
gonna ask them all again.
Okay.
Those
No.
Well, when I
This
do
is
that
May
too.
16th. It says approved, but
January.
Matt, update on the police station.
Police station is doing very well. I'm hoping that we're going to be done within the next few weeks with all the construction and gain our occupancy. Presently, the paint's almost done. The flooring's going in this week. starting this week. It's going to commence all this week and the following week. Most all the trims up. The above ceiling have been completed for inspection, so the ceiling grids are all in, the tiles are all in. The building's it's almost there at this point. Site work's just about all done. The signs are up. The only thing that we have that we need to finish hopefully this year before opening is the bollard covers. The general contractor called extra staff in this weekend, and they put up all those snow guards prior to the snowstorm, so we're able to have that done, and we don't have to try to fight it now. So the building's very close. I'm hoping within 3-4 more weeks, and we should hopefully be done as far as construction, and then there will be odds and ends and commissioning, but feel very good about it.
Everything to add, Mike?
No, that's about it. We're getting close.
All right.
Within the next 2 weeks there, we should have all the flooring done. All the doors are in. We're in pretty close contact with the architect throughout the week. All the ceiling tiles up, second floor. Within the next 48 hours, all the ceiling tile will be on the first. So we're really close.
What's left for approvals as far as before occupancy?
I'm still waiting on Rick Goudreau for the as-built for the exterior, so I can get the health department to sign off on it. We need all the affidavits from this different engineering disciplines that design the building. Brian sent a letter to RDK NV5 asking them. We haven't responded as of yet, but we need to get them out to sign the affidavits, and then we have to do a final finish inspections, and then gain occupancy once we have everybody sign off.
Okay.
When are the police going to physically move, Chief?
Well, just because he's done, we still have systems we need to get up and running, make sure the phone's up, our computers are up. We have a licensed carry machine that's got to be installed and up. There's some other things. So I'm thinking, we talked earlier, last week in March. So probably middle of the week, last week in March.
So operational at the end of March?
Operation will be there, yeah, middle of the last week of March.
And the record still, can't believe you picked April 1st.
April 1st.
Let's hope it doesn't follow the pattern of April 1st. That'd be exciting. Very exciting. Way to go.
I think procedurally, we're going to be controlling affidavits for the final completion. We also are going to have to establish a date of substantial completion. That's what the building official needs before they can issue any temporary certificate of occupancy or certificate of occupancy. The certificate of substantial completion just says that their contract scope is done and the building's available for its intended use. Obviously, you still have to put some systems in that are yours. Whatever that date is established, when we determine that the building's available for its intended use, systems or life safety systems are operational, that date is also the date when you take over insurance on the building. So just know that that's also associated with this certificate of substantial completion. That's also the date when warranties start. So that date's important, and you'll have to get your insurance carrier notified that that date's going to be, it could be in the next 3 weeks, to prepare for that. It's also when the security of the building becomes yours. So Mike won't be there to lock it up or unlock it. So we'll have to make sure you have the right keys, right access control. All the access control has to be operational. So there's some other things that happen with that date. I just wanted to let you know that that's happening, or it will be happening, and we'll coordinate with Matt.
Well, we're talking a date. Is there a specific date, or are we just going to have to wait for it?
As soon as we're substantially complete, I send a letter to Brian saying the building is substantially complete. Brian signs it, or he doesn't sign it. And what he'll do is he'll put in caveats to it, say, here's the final punch list.
So the date of that letter, Mike, that you sign is the date that we need both security and insurance?
Well, it's the date once we accept and we fill out another form, and we establish the date. Now, we'll establish it in communication with the town and Mike, because then they have to coordinate their warranties from that date forward.
And what Brian is really trying to say is,
Can you be sure Scott Bragnon is on that mailing list
I will follow up with him and,
for insurance purposes?
for insurance, to make sure we have full insurance in the building. I'll let you guys all know. I'll have him get a quote, and we can, because we just had to do some insurance, we can probably get a couple different vendors to look at it and make a decision.
Okay.
Matt, we still have builder's risk on there, right? Builder's risk is still there.
Norfolk Transit, shift on your location, 40 Priscilla.
There's our audience.
Show mail fell in the driveway, something I, it's 40 Priscilla.
It's a shock.
Done a couple times today.
Jim, there were two more things. We have the rolling filing systems in evidence.
Yeah.
Has to be moved in, categorized, and all set up. And then also in the filing system in the records office. Those have to be, all those files have to be moved, set up in that file. That's not an overnight job.
Oh, I know. I'm not trying to rush it, I'm just curious.
Furniture.
Yeah.
We gotta get furniture in, and then they can put computers and phones on the desk and start working in that direction. And we have to move files into all those, so. There's a lot more to do, just because they sign off and say you're
No,
ready to
I
go
know,
in.
I know, I know.
Yeah.
Gosh, that was one more question. I apologize, George. And an interesting day. It'll come to me, I'm sorry.
All right, yeah, I have a couple of things.
Oh, it came to me.
All right.
How does the insurance work between the station and the rec dispatch?
We reach out to our carrier through Maya, and it's going to kick in when we give them the date, but we already have policies in place. Those will be going up substantially when they're operating, but we're on top of that.
Okay. It probably would benefit each party to have copies of each other's coverages, don't you think? Yeah.
They have a request. I have talked to Scott. They need to get, since we're performing the maintenance and the cleaning of the building, we have to give them a copy of our COI.
Yep.
And Gary and I have been working on that.
Okay.
Okay. There's an issue with some of, we have some meeting minutes that have been approved, but somehow it didn't get logged. So I'd like just to go through a bunch of meeting minutes and see if everybody approves them. I don't know if you want me to read them or just tell you the dates, because there's a lot, but I want to get them on my town government.
I have seen them, so.
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
let me just give you the dates?
Sure.
Okay. January 27, 2016,
There you go, wait a minute, January 27th,
2016.
yep.
February 22nd, 2016. May 16th, 2016. May 24th, 2016. June 14th, 2016. August 16th, 2016. October 18th, 2016. September 20th, 2016. October 4th, 2016. January 3rd, 2017. March 21st, 2017. And the last for today would be June 6th, 2017.
I will make a motion, Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
I move to approve the minutes, January 27th, 2016, February 22nd, May 16th, May 24th, June 14th, August 16th, October 16th, September 20th, October 4th, all in 2016, January 3rd, March 21st, June 6th, 2017.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Unanimous.
We have a requisition here, requisition application number 18 for the December of 2018 invoice, which on the base contract, base contract is 308, 458, 56, and a change order of 171, 240, which was previously approved.
Say it again.
Total base contract of
So just the
308,
number.
total in 565, 9/26/27.
You say we already approved part of that.
We approved the change order for additional continuing, but it hadn't been included into payment yet. We've approved the
wow.
additional, so
Two numbers that make the 565. We're 308,
458.56
yep.
and 171.240.
And these are both conditions, the general conditions?
One's base bid, monthly invoice for construction costs, and one's for the 4 additional months of general conditions.
Okay. You need a motion?
I guess actually, we already have a motion to pay the general conditions, now I think about it. So why don't we make a motion to pay 308, 458.56.
Second.
Can I show you what I'm trying to get at? It'd be easier.
Make a motion.
We voted last month.
I'd like to look at it.
We voted last month to accept the additional general conditions.
Yep.
So our monthly invoice is over here, something which is our base bid.
Yep.
Did you make that motion? Jim made the motion.
I don't think so. I think I jumped the gun.
Oh.
You've got which one?
Do you need a hand? Signal.
They're the same format,
Oh,
just
same
2
format.
copies, yep.
Yep.
Okay. This carries us through,
That's through December 31st. So it shows what we have left in the base contract, which I believe is 700,
right.
which that's all accounted for.
Okay. So 774, 418.53 is left.
For base, yes.
Yep. Now, it says here, you want us to mark the 308, but here it says total approved this month is the 171,240.
That's approved change order. We had already voted to approve that last
We
month.
did vote that,
We
okay.
didn't vote, we voted that we'd accept the change order amount, but we didn't vote to pay for it yet.
Oh,
So
wow.
I'm not quite sure how you would motion that.
Oh, no.
We would have to reaffirm that, wouldn't we?
Yes. I think so.
So, and I would think
Yeah, so you need the 565, 926, 27
that's what I would
approved.
say.
Yeah.
Do you agree?
Yeah.
Okay, I move to approve payment of 565, 926, decimal 27.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. It's approved.
And just while we're still on this topic, we should have a kickoff meeting. We discussed a little bit of it last time, and I think it would be better to have it before the station goes live. And I know that we've talked about it with the MEC as well, maybe do a joint meeting. But I was wondering if we could come up with a date, and then we can come up with the invite list. I know you guys have plenty of people you want to invite, but I think it might be a lot easier before the station's being occupied and used to have people in there touring it.
So when are you thinking? What time
Sometime
of
in
year?
March, I'd say that towards the end of March, that way everything can be pretty much set up, just not 100% ready to rock and roll. So I don't know what dates work best for people, but I was thinking somewhere after the 18th, which is a Monday, and before the 28th, which is a Thursday. You don't need a definitive date, but I just wanted to try to put it in that window and then come. I have the invite list of the original kickoff meeting. I don't know if we want to add more to that or.
Sometime
The rec is
both
good.
entities, so we can set up training.
That's that, that's fine with me.
Electrical. We need to have a training session for his people to do this.
I would think it would make sense to do
Yeah.
The
it.
dates that are available, and we'll make it happen.
Gary.
Jerry,
Gary.
Gary, excuse me. We had talked when you and I crossed paths down at the building
Yes.
last week that we would pick a joint date. Wouldn't that make sense?
It would, and for the MEC, it'd be better the last week of March, because we're gonna have on-site training for the dispatchers the weeks leading up, but we'll be in a cool-down period the last week of March. So that'd be better for us, so that we don't have to worry about interrupting any dispatch training, if that works for me.
It just looks, wouldn't it make sense to do,
So if you would pick
Do
Monday,
one-
Tuesday, or Wednesday, that would be of that week.
yeah?
So that
would
puts
work?
us March 25th, 6th, or 7th.
Any of those dates would work for us.
That's the 25th, that's a Monday.
25th is a Monday.
Yeah. Mondays sometimes can be tough for me,
How
so
about a Wednesday?
Wednesday's fine.
About the Wednesday?
All right, Wednesday, the 27th. What time do you think we should make it, around lunchtime or after lunch or in the morning?
10 o'clock.
I like 10 a.m.
Okay.
That's just,
10 a.m.
10 a.m.?
if that works for you folks, yeah.
Yep.
Gary's bringing refreshments and.
Well,
We'll work together on it.
okay.
Yeah.
But we need to come up, if you guys, I don't know if it's allowed, if you guys give me emails, I could come up with some sort of invitation. And if people that we want invited, I don't know if we have to have that committee or if we,
Allowed to invite people, I think so.
but so we can put a nice, I don't know if I could just, I don't know how the procedure, if I'm allowed to invite people, or does that have to be a committee vote to who do we invite, or how's that work?
Invite whoever you want.
Anyway,
Okay.
yeah, that's kind of,
Okay,
anybody, everyone's welcome.
Yeah.
Kevin, I can offer you what we're gonna do. The MEC is gonna do a postcard saying you're cordially invited to the open house of the MEC. And if you wanna do a joint postcard, MEC and the Norfolk Police Department, something like that. But that's how we're gonna get the word out for the invitations.
okay. Does that work for you guys?
Sure.
Okay. Sure. I'll work with Gary, and then we'll get that out soon, that way people
That'll
can.
be exciting.
Yep.
All right, so that's it for police station. Now, I know the architect has been working with the fire department to come up with a new plan and get some costs. So,
All yours, Brian.
From our last meeting, you asked for some more information on two fronts. First was to take the Scheme C scenario that we had previously developed and have the cost estimator adjust that for inflation and also give you a new number. They revisited the cost estimate that was done, which originally had reflected a spring 2018 construction start, and they escalated that to January of 2019, but also put a spring 2020 construction start escalation onto it, not knowing when it was going to go out to bid, not knowing when it was going to start construction. So the original Scheme C, if you're looking at this 11 by 17, the 11 by 17 spreadsheet gives you Scheme C, which is the green columns, breaks it out into site improvement costs, addition renovation building costs, the square foot for the building, and the total cost. And it has gone from 5.7 or 5.38 to 5.70, adjusted for inflation. They've now developed a new Scheme F, and Scheme F floor plans we'll go over in a minute, but Scheme F would be a new construction option. And the estimated cost escalated it to the same period of construction is estimated at $6.15 million. The difference in that, you can see the cost per square foot for the building, if you were to do Scheme C, is estimated at $321 a square foot, and the building for new construction is $349 a square foot. And the way he's estimated that is he's looked at what is similar between the two. Based on square footages, we're going to have new mechanicals in the renovation scheme. We'll have new mechanicals in the new construction scheme. So some of the line items, such as mechanical, electrical, plumbing, they don't change because all the systems were going to be new. But what does change is exterior envelope. The site work really doesn't change. It's just the building that changes. So if you want to break down why is new construction still estimated to be slightly higher than renovation, it comes down to $321 a square foot versus $349 a square foot. But to show you scheme F, that it was really based on a solution, we've also given you a proposed site plan which has rotated the building 90 degrees that we had talked about last time, putting the office spaces to Main Street and putting the apparatus bays to the rear of the site. And we've tried to give you a very economical floor plan. Economical in the front of the building. On the lower and main floor, the front to back dimension is 40 feet. So it's 40 feet times 100 and something long. So you have a two-story structure at 40 feet wide. It's an easy dimension for wood trusses. It's an easy dimension for construction. And then the apparatus base in the back is just a one-story structure, but a total height on that structure of about 17 feet for the apparatus bays. We have two stair towers that were added to the plan, but other than that, all the program spaces that you have in Scheme F, program spaces align with what we have in Scheme C. It's just a much more functional, much more efficient layout. I did have an opportunity to pass this by the fire chief. He's had a little bit of time to review it. By no means are we saying this has to be the final layout, but it's a new construction option, very economical, very easy to build. Yeah. What you're not seeing in these numbers, these are just construction numbers. So these don't include soft costs and they don't include contingencies. We had said at our last meeting, if you're looking at a renovation, you should have a 15% contingency. If you're looking at new construction, we would only recommend a 10% contingency. So when you're looking at other line items, these are going to come very close to being similar in costs. If they're $500,000 apart now, the change in contingency is $300,000. So now you're only $200,000 apart when you're looking at the project total. So it's the information I think you requested. It's a floor plan now that you can look at and react to, and it's just whatever you feel is the best direction to go in.
Is there a difference in terms of the time for construction? Is that reflected in the estimate?
They have adjusted it in both estimates. You're seeing just the title, the cover sheet, but I have forwarded to Matt the entire estimate, and if I look down in the detail, anything that's highlighted in yellow is a change from the earlier estimate. So they've made changes to all the light items that are in yellow, and Matt has the entire estimate. They've adjusted the renovation scenario down to a 12-month project instead of they had 16 months prior. So it's no longer a phased approach.
So Chief, what's your input?
Yeah.
Well, totally biased. I mean, obviously, we've talked ad infinitum about new construction. I think the best future of the town is represented in going with the new construction as opposed to renovation. The new construction pattern in terms of the architectural layout, functionality of the space is clearly provided. I think the new construction has lent itself to some renewed excitement amongst the staff as opposed to looking at Scheme C. When we look at Scheme C in retro, I think we've talked about it at the last meeting, or at least when we met as a group to develop the Scheme F, was that Scheme C, while providing use of the existing space, the functional application of it didn't really lend itself, because we're dividing garages, we're moving personnel back and forth depending on the time of day, the level of staffing, and that type of thing. I think the thing that Brian pointed out when we had the meeting to discuss the inception of Scheme F was that the 40-foot marker that he mentioned would lend itself to construction more in tune, perhaps, or synonymous maybe with residential construction, because it could be done conventional stick or wood construction. I think regardless of my input at this point as your chief, it really comes back to where we stand in terms of the town, ensuring that the adequate funding is there moving forward. And certainly we're just looking at the very beginning as we start this journey towards a new building, hopefully a new building. But with that being said, I think the emphasis is going to be on the dollar. When they say it's not about the money, it's always about the money.
Well, there's another component that we have to get some harder numbers on, which is the relocation.
Exactly.
Because that plays into it if we do new construction. So we need to, Matt, we need to kind of work through that a little bit more fine numbers on that.
One item on both of these that I am concerned about is hazmat remediation. I definitely feel that we're going to have a significant amount of that.
We know there's asbestos in there.
So I would think both of them they're going to go appropriate the same either way. If we get to do new construction, we have to deal with it, but that's something that we need to also factor in.
Is there a difference between trying to mitigate it in an existing building versus taking it all out?
Only if you were trying to phase it with occupancies. If the building's vacant, there's no different. They would contain it and dispose of it the same way. So you need to identify what's there, get an estimate on it, and then it would be added to either or the same.
What's your experience, Mike?
The only thing I would say about the renovation aspect of it, architect doesn't have see-through, he can't see through the walls. You start opening up walls, you can find asbestos, other contaminants that you don't know about until the walls are open. So
back in 69,
that can significantly increase that 15% to 20 to 25 in your renovation aspect of it.
I had a destructive test done to the building when I first came on, and they had found issues throughout the building, so only on the older side, because there was still a little bit over in the police side because they're still using asbestos and roofing products now, but I would figure $100,000 would be a pretty good number to land on that on top of all this, either direction we go. Because I don't think we can't really leave it and work around it, because it's in windows, it's in floors, so we have to do all that, so.
We need to wait until the end of the final figures on the police project. Sit down and figure out which way's the best way to go.
Well, yeah, I mean, we're not reconciled on the police yet, so.
No.
We don't know what that number is right now.
Not today.
By March, April?
That's kind of what much as I like Mike, I want to stop sealing invoices, so, and I'm hoping that's why I'm dying to get this done so we can know exactly what we have.
We're pushing for the end of January. We want to move forces out. We want everybody out.
And then I would expect within a month, we'd have all our final numbers for people to send in their invoices, because we still do have pending change orders that haven't been brought here yet.
There's always a lag, so
So,
March 1st would be a reasonable target to have some reconciliation.
I believe so.
And we could get some firmer numbers for relocation by then, I would think.
Sure, we've started having discussions. We need to have a sit-down with Mr. McGee, yourself, Mr. Bushnell, and just kind of come up with a scope of exactly what needs to happen for their we have a general idea what we need, but we do need to have an exact scope so we can move forward and get some firm numbers. But we should be able to easily do that within a couple of weeks. So if you'd like, we can have it addressed by the next building committee meeting.
And build into that, I know when we all met, we do need to maintain a police presence there, irrelevant of which direction we go.
Yeah, I mean, that was the original.
That was the original
Yeah.
plan, right? Yep. So there would be a trailer or something that would be,
Could be that, or maybe a location downstairs that Matt's gonna find.
okay.
Again, we looked into doing, potentially bringing it over here, but we have to maintain a physical presence at 117 because we're gonna have a dark station. All our infrastructure is over there. So if to bring them up here, we're gonna have an additional cost just to bring it back down. So it might be better to leave it where it's at and look at potentially renting a very small office modular trailer or something. We just need to kind of come up with a very firm plan going forward and work off of that, and then we can design what we want to do and what we anticipate the cost. But we just kind of have to have a meeting of the minds.
Because all the communication capabilities should start down there. And
They start, yeah.
that would be, I would think, a substantial expense to move that up here.
Well, there's some ancillary issues that go hand in hand. One of them being, just from the fire side, the fire suppression side, that we've now reached a point where our mutual aid partners, when they come to cover Norfolk, when we're tied up with other calls, their apparatus no longer fits in our facility. We did have a company last year that did try to park their apparatus in, and it cost them about $10,000 in repairs. So we don't have partners that have vehicles now that fit in the building. And as we move towards through the winter, that becomes more and more of an issue. I think one of the other things that we're looking at as well is our communications equipment. Jamie, who just left, is handling that part of it for us. But there's some discussion as to what we need to keep with us as opposed to what's going to the MEC. Probably the biggest issue that we have to resolve is the town's radio box system for monitoring fire alarms in the community. There's a discussion going on of where the front-end equipment is going to end up. It looks like it won't go to the MEC. It'll be here and relayed by fiber. So regardless of what happens here, we're going to have to come up with a plan to ensure that we have continuity on that. The last issue is just all of the expense that the MEC is technically holding in abeyance for us regarding Dark Station, regardless of whether we stay here for a period of time or transfer to the DPW. There are things that do need to go into place. My concern, just a personal concern, is that we end up spending money for short-term situations. If we end up staying for a period of time, which it looks like we will, in the existing facility, then obviously we're going to have the MEC come in and expend the funds for the Dark Station, because people will continue to gravitate. We do have a number, we talked about before, of walk-in medicals that we need to ensure that we can service the public from that regard. So there are some logistical issues that go hand in hand as we start to move in one direction or another. Those are probably the four biggest ones that we put on the table.
Can I make a suggestion that we sit down next week and start trying to really think about all these small details and make a plan?
Sure, absolutely.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll talk to you and Peter and John and have everybody kind of think about it.
Deb, do you want to offer anything else? Good?
Be sure to get Mr. McGee in this too.
Yes, sir.
It's like the invasion of Normandy.
Hope we picked the right date.
Okay,
Check the weather.
Eisenhower. You're Eisenhower.
Check the weather. Yeah, right.
Well, is there anything else we need to discuss?
No, so Matt, we're gonna get a meeting next week to start.
Yes, sir. I will.
Stop that.
Who are you trying to impress here today? Answer one of them. Yes, sir. No, sir. Mr.
I always say that.
I know.
Corporate headquarters.
I will probably send it out for Tuesday. I'll talk to these guys to see if everybody's available, but I'll do it for Tuesday. I'll invite Mr. McGee and the 4 chiefs, and I'll even have maybe Barry and Matt, so that way, because they all have different angles too that they're going to think about. So come up with what we think. Start preliminary and start getting some.
Todd, could you join us on that, too?
Okay.
The MEC people. The MEC people.
Well, I just want to kind of figure out what we need for space and at the DPW and what it's going to cost, and then bring them in after we kind of have a pathway of what we want to do, because they're doing 30-some interviews this week and next week, so I don't know what they're.
Tuesday would be good for us.
Okay.
But we can get a preliminary.
Make sure you get a shot.
Well, he's got a lot of cooking to do for our big open house, so don't worry about him. All right.
McDonald's food seems to be in vogue these
Yeah,
days.
that's right. There you go.
Max for everyone.
I will send out an invite and try to get that ball rolling.
Brian, just one question. What is the, I know you're talking an average of construction at 321, you said,
Yes.
and renovation 349? Or do I have it backwards?
No, you have it backwards.
I have it backwards?
New construction at 349,
All right, so I have it backwards, sorry. And renovation at 321?
321.
But you're gonna need a higher contingency for the renovation.
Correct. There's a lot more unknown with the renovations. With the new construction scenario that you have in front of you, there's very little unknown.
Yeah.
It's a pretty easy building to put together.
And both of those numbers include the 2020 construction,
They
actually?
do.
Okay.
Not 19.
Or 9? Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
20, he said.
No, these are 2020 numbers.
Yes.
So you're good up until
So it's
spring of
apples
20.
to apples for numbers, okay.
Correct.
yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you for preparing these.
As I said, there's a big cost estimate. It's about 20-some
I just-
pages long.
I didn't want to forward it to anybody until we had the meeting. I just forwarded it to everybody while we were sitting here after he brought it up.
So if you needed more information, it's there. This is just a page, summary page.
Okay, thank you.
So, I guess we just have to pick a meeting, when we have to meet again?
Sure.
So we're shooting for next Tuesday?
I'm going to shoot for next Tuesday for a discussion about the fire department move, but a building committee meeting. So today is the 22nd of January, so a month from now. So we could do the 19th or the 26th.
26 would be better for me.
26 would probably be better for estimates too, as far as
Gives us
final
more time,
estimates on the
sure.
police station.
So February 26th at 4 p.m. room 124. I'll put it on my government right now.
What time?
4 p.m. All right.
All right, is there anything else we need to discuss?
Not that I'm aware of right now.
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
All's in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we are adjourned.
We hold on to the big rendition.